Happy Thursday. Welcome to my live where we are cooking through the taste buds recipes. My name is Joy. I'm a pampered chef consultant in the Gainesville, Florida area. And I'm super excited to come to you guys live and cook along with you. If you are a Taste Buds subscriber, if you're not, we'll talk about that a little bit later. But if you are, we are making the April Pimento Cheese Pork Chops today. And I couldn't just do a pimento cheese pork chop. I had to put a little extra something with it. So we're going to do some sautéed collard greens and some creamy cheesy grits. We're just going to put some south in your mouth tonight. So that's the plan. Just some south in your mouth tonight. So I hope you guys enjoy it. If you make it, please tag me. Post the pictures. I want to see how it turns out in your kitchen. But let's get cooking, shall we? All right, so first of all, we're going to start off with prepping the collard greens. I did get those sliced and they're already shredded into pretty little ribbons. And back here, I'm going to twist my camera just a little bit. I have got a little pot of boiling water and we're going to blanch these. We're going to cook them, boil them up for about 15 minutes. We're just going to break down some of that fiber that's in there and just kind of start that cooking process. So we get that going first off. All right. So while that's going, back here I've got some butter that has been sauteing, melting in here. It's just barely brown butter. So now we're going to add in some grits. Now I'm making a small portion of grits because my family aren't really big grit eaters. So it's really just enough for me and maybe for Sabrina, my youngest, to try out. So I'm going in here. I've got 2 tablespoons of butter. I'm going to put in a half a cup of grits in there, roughly half a cup. Now, grits generally are a 4-to-1 ratio, liquid to grits. So if you put in a half a cup of grits, then you're going to need multiply it by 4, which is 2 cups of liquid. Okay. And for my liquid, I like to do, when I make these at church, I usually do use half and half and water. But since I don't have half and half, we're just going to go with straight milk. And we're going to start off with a cup of milk. And I'm going to let that kind of simmer down a little bit. And turn this down to low. So while that's cooking, I'm going to fill this back up with some water. And I'm going to add that water in slowly as those grits are cooking. So we'll just let that water hang out here. There we go. All right. So for my pork chops, I've got my 12-inch stainless nonstick skillet, my favorite cooking vessel of all time. I love the beautiful color that I can get on my meats and veggies in here. It's beautiful, caramelizing and all that good stuff. So we're going to cook our pork chops in 2 stages. I'm going to start by getting some color on them. Then we're going to, as they're cooking, we're going to make up our pimento cheese. Then that's going to go on the top, and then that goes in the oven, okay? So I've got my broiler on high, and I've moved my oven rack down a little bit because I don't want it to get too brown too fast. So we've got to move that down, and I'll probably end up switching that. Having the broiler on high just makes me a little nervous. Anyway, so we'll get there. All right, so I've got my pork chops over here. And what I did for these are just boneless pork chops. What I did was I bought a pork loin roast and just sliced the pork chops myself. The pork loin roast was like $1.59 a pound, something like that, versus buying the actual pre-cut pork chops, which was closer to $4 a pound. So I was able to get let's see, 2, 4, 6, 8 pork chops for like $4.50. So, I mean, they're pretty nice size too. So we're gonna season these up. We're going to add, some salt and pepper to both sides. And I've got my pan heating up here. There we go. More salt and pepper. Salt helps to pull some of the moisture out, and it helps in that browning process too. And flavor, of course, flavor. All right. I'll get these flipped over. There we go. And we'll add some salt to the other side. So I grew up in North Carolina. Even though I live in Florida now, I grew up in North Carolina, and I love pimento cheese. The pimento cheese sandwich, pimento cheese with just some Ritz crackers or something like that. Love it, love it, love it. P.S. Keep your grits moving. Otherwise, you'll end up with a grit cake, and that is not what we want today. All right, keep that moving and bust up all of those lumps. But yeah, grew up on pimento cheese. Never really knowing what exactly a pimento was. But if you know, go ahead and throw it in the comments. And so yeah, pimentos, I learned, are actually little red peppers. They're little heart-shaped peppers. They're not spicy or anything like that, but peppers nonetheless. Never knew. All right, I do have some of these, a few of them that are a little on the thick side. So I'm going to use some parchment paper here just to keep everything nice and clean. And flatten it a little bit with my meat tenderizer here. I'm using the flat side because I just want to get everything nice and even, because if all of them are an even thickness, then they'll all cook evenly. Beautiful. All right, I'm gonna get rid of the parchment paper. My meat tenderizer is still nice and clean. What's really neat about this is you can use it on the flat side when you want to flatten it. If you want to tenderize, it does have a spiky side. All you have to do is just unscrew it from one side and screw it on the other. There you go. Then you have the spiky side that you can use for whatever you need. If you're doing like big steaks or something like that, it makes it perfect. All right, I'll put that back this way so it doesn't scratch up my cabinet. All right. Now in my pan, I'm going to add a little bit of oil here. There we go. Don't need too much, but I do need some. Now, if you're not into pork chops, you can totally do this recipe with chicken thighs. And you can use like the bone-on chicken thighs if you wanted to, especially since this has a 2-stage cooking process. Since we're going to be throwing these guys in the oven, chicken thighs can stand up to that. Chicken breast, you could do it with chicken breast, but you're just going to have to be much more vigilant with your temperature with the chicken breast. All right, so this is good. I also want to season it with some of my South Carolina barbecue rub. And this, of course, is part of that Taste Buds collection. You can purchase this, if I'm not mistaken, on our website in just the bottle. But this is what comes in there. And it's mustard based, so I'll show you what it looks like. So it's definitely a mustard-based barbecue sauce, barbecue seasoning, excuse me. But anywhere where you would use like a mustard powder is great for this. Deviled eggs, you guys. My macaroni and cheese is really good in the mac and cheese. Just adds that little bit of tang to it. It's really, really good. So I've put about a tablespoon on each side. Let's flip these over. Get that extra flavor there. Oops. There we go. All right. And one more. So I'm using about a half of a tablespoon on each side and seasoning them up real good. It smells amazing already. Love it, love it, love it, love it. All right, fantastic. There we go. All right, again, South Carolina style barbecue rub. All right. My pan is nice and hot, so we're gonna put the pork chops in. Now, I'm not cooking these fully. I'm really just getting some color on them. And I did probably make more than I needed. We'll have to do this in batches. That's all good. We'll do it in batches. Alrighty, let me grab my insulated bowl. Whenever I'm working in batches, I always have my insulated bowls handy. That way I can transfer over to the insulated bowl while I'm working on that second batch. All right, collards are looking good. And all right, so I'm going to move this over here and just let that hang out here while we work on our pimento cheese. And we're going to make it from scratch. Yes, we are. Alrighty. First things first, we're going to need a block of cream cheese. You stay there. Block of cream cheese. And this needs to be room temperature, so you can throw it in the microwave for just a couple seconds, and it will be all good. So what are you making for dinner tonight? Tell me in the comments what you've got going on in your kitchen. Tell me if you've ever tried pimento cheese pork chops before. Inquiring minds want to know. Alrighty. So let's see. We'll use our mix and scraper. There we go. Good deal. Alright. So I'm going to need a block of cheddar cheese, and I've got a mild cheddar here. Depending on what kind, you might want to go with the sharp, but I like the flavor of a mild, or even like a Kobe Jack, but I didn't have Kobe Jack in the fridge, so we're going mild today. And I'm going to go ahead and shred up the whole block of cheese. I'm going to use half in my pimento cheese, and the other half is going in the grits. All right. So as you can see, my grits have pretty much absorbed all of that milk we put in there earlier. So I'm adding now a cup of the water and letting those just continue to cook and hang out here in the back. And give those a really good stir, because we do not want any lumps in our grits. We are respectable Southern women. We don't do lumpy grits, okay? Keep them moving, keep them moving. There we go. All right, so let's get this block of cheddar. Again, half of it's going in the grits, half of it is going in the pimento cheese. And keep an eye on your pork chops. Pork chops are a lot like chicken breasts, honestly. There is not a ton of fat in them. Well, it depends on the cut that you have. Pork loin, not generally very fatty. Sirloins are a lot better, but the pork loins aren't generally. The other half back here. And I'm just grating this very carefully, not to grate my fingers or my nails with it too. Now there is a food holder that goes along with this, but sometimes I feel like it just gets in the way. All right. Okie dokie. And thanks to the magic of a flexible cutting mat, I'm just going to roll this and dump it right in there. There we go. All right. So I've got a block of cream cheese, half of a block of cheddar. There we go. Some beautiful color. Now remember, this is going in the oven, so we're not fully cooking it. We're just getting some nice color, and you can see the color that we're getting here. I love, love, love that. And the stainless nonstick gives me that beautiful color there. Hang out here. All right, next we're going to add some jalapeno to our pimento cheese. I'm using half a jalapeno. I went ahead and sliced it, got rid of the veins and all that stuff. I cut it in half, excuse me. I'm only using, I don't even think I'm going to use this whole half, maybe about 3/4. It depends on how spicy you want your pimento cheese. I'm not a big spicy fan, but I do like the flavor that comes with the jalapeno, so I will occasionally add it in there. So we're going to dice this really nice and small. And one of these days, I'm going to learn to slice and talk at the same time, but I don't have the capacity for that yet. One day, when I'm all grown up, I will learn how to talk to camera and slice things at the same time without putting my fingers in danger. All right, next up, we've got some Roma tomatoes. We're gonna throw 2, maybe 3 of those in here as well. There we go. Put my veggie scraps over there. There we go. So I'm just cutting them in half, making little slices, making planks, and then dicing that up. There we go. And again, that's just some Roma tomatoes. You know, I probably could, if I really wanted to, probably could use my manual food processor for this. That would work really well for dicing up tomatoes. I do that when I'm making salsa. But I want more dices than chops, if that makes sense. All right. So my first round of pork chops are ready. Again, I really just wanted a little bit of color on these because they are going, come around here. These are going in the oven after. All right. These go right in. All right. And please don't send me nasty hate mail because I'm using the same tongs for cooked and not cooked. These are going back in the oven for another stage of cooking, so I'm not worried about cross-contamination at this point. Now, once it goes in the oven, I will switch out my tongs as to not have the raw meat on the fully cooked food. Okay? But for now, we're good. All right. Stir those grits. And we're going to finish slicing up these tomatoes. There we go. So we have, it feels like skipped spring and went face first into summer here. I feel like it's like 90 degrees Crazy. Crazy, crazy. All right. And you guys, my husband and I are in a bit of a conundrum. It's that we've watched we're like caught up on all of our favorite TV shows, so we need something else to watch. During the pandemic, we got hooked on Yellowstone and all of the spin-offs and everything. But now we're all caught up on that and just waiting for the next one to come out. Or I don't know, are they making another one? Or maybe they're still on hiatus or filming or something, I don't know. But now we need a new show to watch. So if you got any suggestions, throw them at me. Something good. But, yeah. Let's see. When you get used to just watching, like binge watching a show, waiting every week for the new one to come out, it's torture. It's torture. Like, I don't even understand how we lived like that for so long, you know? Without being able to like fast forward through the commercials, having to wait every week. Like if you weren't sitting in front of the TV at the time, you completely missed the episode. Like, my kids don't even understand how good they've got it right now. Like, okay, so we've got our tomatoes, we've got our jalapeno in here. We're gonna add our pimentos, and we need about, what do we need for this? A whole jar, the whole thing. The whole thing. We're going to drain this, drain these guys. There we go. All right. Drained all out. Alright, so now we're going to just mix all this up together. 1 second, let me flip these. Flip, flip, and flip. There we go. Beautiful color, beautiful color. Alright. And I'm using my mixing scraper to just really get everything mixed in there. And this is, of course, why you want room temperature cream cheese. Otherwise, this is not going to work. There we go. Fantastic. All right. There we go. Alright. It's got a nice color to it. Little pops of yellow and the red and the green. I'm excited. I am excited. Alrighty. So, you know what? I don't think the tomatoes were supposed to go in there. Yeah, probably not. I think the tomatoes were supposed to just go in the pan. But oh well. It works. It's good. Yep. That has got me just craving some Ritz crackers right now. Good stuff. All right, while we wait for these to finish up, give those grits a stir. And I'm going to drain off my collards here in a sec. Before I do, I want to get an onion diced up. Not diced. We're just going to go with a slice. We'll keep it classy with a slice. I think that'll work. Now, usually when I make collard greens, it's like a 4-hour process. You start with ham hocks and boil those down, sucking out all that flavor, then put the collard greens in, and they cook for like 3-4 hours. Doing this as just a saute, and you're done in like a half an hour, and it's really, really good. And it's all done in one pot too, which I love. So, alright, I think those pork chops are ready. Now, I do have picky eaters in the house, so we're going to leave some of the pork chops as just plain pork chops. And we're only going to use the pimento cheese on some of them. But, I mean, I think the pimento cheese is going to be like a key component to this, because it's going to help to keep the pork chops nice and moist. Alright, put these over. There we go. And squish everybody in here together. Put these back in the pan. There we go. And one little guy right there. We'll keep all those wonderful juices too. Alright. So, we're going to add just a dollop of the pimento cheese on the top. There we go. And these are going to go back into the oven. And it really depends on how thick your chops are, on how long they're going to be in there. But you want to just leave them until they are fully cooked to about 145, 150 tops. And then you take them out, let them hang out. They'll carry over to that proper temp. So into the oven they go, under the broiler. I'm going to drop that down to low because my stove is kind of crazy. So I think if I had that on high, it would be way too much. Alrighty. So I'm going to pop over to the stove, drain these collard greens, and then we'll get ready for the next phase. Alright. I got out most of the liquid. That's good. There we go. Alright. So it's not a ton of collard greens. Again, I'm like the only collard green eater in the house. So we're going to throw this onion in here. There we go. We're going to add some butter in there as well, because why not? And then throw some garlic in too. We'll put maybe like 2 tablespoons of butter, which I think is plenty for that little amount there. There we go. Alrighty. And we'll get all of this just mixed in together. And this will saute, and you'll pretty much just cook them until the onions are a little translucent, and then they'll be ready to go. What am I looking for? The garlic. In here. There we go. And I'd say maybe 2 cloves, 3 maybe, if they're small. These are kind of small, so we'll go with 3. Alright. And I'm just going to press these right in. There we go. And again, what I love about the garlic press is you don't even have to peel it. It'll just pop that skin right out. Press it right through the skin. There we go. Yeah. Perfect. All right, last one. Because why not? There you go. All right, garlic is in. Butter is in, and it's just going to saute and cook and bring all of that flavor together. All right. So my grits are on low, and as long as we keep them moving, we'll keep them happy. Yeah, nice and creamy. Now I am using the 5-minute grits, but I cook them like they're 20-minute grits. I think just the process of just slowing it down just makes them really delicious. And we're gonna add our cheese in here. Depends on how much cheese you want. Let's start with about 1/4 cup. There we go. And a little trick that I learned from, who was it? Robert Irvine. I know, I was kind of surprised that that British man taught me anything about grits, but he did. Cream cheese, a little bit of cream cheese in there. It just takes it to a whole nother level. So for this, since I'm only doing like 2 portions of grits, I'm not gonna put the whole block in there. I'll probably just use about 1/4 of it, not even. There we go. That's good. The rest will be for bagels in the morning. And that just adds another super creamy element to it. Hey John, how's it going? Winter, it's below freezing. Dude, I've been telling you to leave that place for a while. Nothing good comes from still freezing when it's going to be May next week. It's crazy. It's crazy. See those southern meals. Right? Right? Grits and collard greens. You cannot go wrong. All right. So I've got the heat on low and slow for these grits, and that's just going to melt everything through. If you notice that the grits are a little tight, not as loose as you want, add some more milk. You can add some more water. I would go with milk. Now, if you're not a big grits fan, you could do mashed potatoes here. You could also do polenta. Polenta's really good. With polenta, it's really the same sort of concept as the grits, except for you would probably use like a chicken stock in place of the milk and the water. Use a chicken stock, but you would treat them just the same. Keep them moving so they don't get lumpy. Add your cheese at the end. I would go with probably a Parmesan, not necessarily a cheddar, but it would still be good. It would still be fabulous. Absolutely fabulous. I'm going to turn the heat up just a little bit. I'm going to pull this together. Alrighty. Now my onions, I can really smell the garlic coming off the collards. There was probably a little bit more liquid in there. I probably should have gave them a good squeeze, but I didn't. So it's sauteing some of that liquid out, and once it does, it's really going to start pulling that all together, which I can't wait. It's going to be awesome. All right. Keep an eye on those pork chops. Make sure they're not doing anything too crazy in there. If you have a meat thermometer, this is a good time to use it. And just double check on your meat. I had to replace my battery, which is like, I think I've had this thing for 4 years maybe. And I just had to replace the battery for maybe the second time. And I use this all the time. All the time. So you want to find your thickest pork chop and just pop the thing in there and see how it's doing. All right. These are at 140. So I'm going to go ahead and turn that heat up now. 5 minutes to get to about 145. It's only going to take just a little bit. And then they're going to be ready to go. I'm so excited. You ready to move south? Come on to Florida, right? Maybe not Florida, but come on down. How about that? But not until after I get to come up there for, you gotta take me lobster fishing, John. I promised. Is it called fishing still with lobsters? I don't know. But we do have lobsters here in Florida too, which I didn't even know. Amazing. It's amazing. All right. That is looking fantastic. And let's double check these. The thing about using your broiler is you really have to keep an eye on it because it can go from perfectly cooked to completely burned in no time flat. I've heard way too many stories about people setting things on fire in their broilers, so you don't want to do that. You don't want to do that. All right, so the cheese in the pimento cheese is melted. Again, I turned this down to low, so it probably doesn't have that same level of caramelization on it. But my pork chops are done, and I do not want to overcook my pork chops, so we're just going to have to live with that little bit of a sacrifice. I am totally fine with it. All right. And let me bring this up so you guys can see how they look. And that cheese on the top is, of course, just adding another level of moisture in there. Whew. And it smells amazing too. All right. Grits are looking good. That is the consistency that I like. Because once the heat goes off, they still continue, those grits, they're very thirsty. And they will continue to just absorb more and more liquid, so it'll get tighter as we go on here. And this is what my collards look like. They are fully cooked. They were, we boiled them earlier, and they are good to go. And for some reason, all of my forks are in the dishwasher, which is pretty amazing. There are only 5 people that live in this house, and yet all of my forks are dirty. It's pretty impressive. Yes. And a little bit of salt, a little bit of pepper, and that is going to take that to the next level. I'm going to also add some pepper over here, a little bit of salt. Let me taste that first. Yep. Grits really are a blank canvas, so you have to tell them what you want them to taste like. Cheesy and creamy and all that good stuff. But you have to add some seasoning. Pepper, salt, all that good stuff. All right. Perfect. Perfect, perfect, perfect. Again, if you're not a big fan of grits, switch it out for mashed potatoes. Polenta could work too. If you're not a big collard green fan, you could do spinach. wilt down some spinach with a little bit of onion and garlic, salt and pepper, just to add a little bit of pop of green to it. If you want to sub out the pork chops, you could sub out the pork chops and put in chicken. I would use a chicken thigh just because we did a two-step cooking process. We browned them on top of the stove and then put them in the oven. The chicken thighs are a little heartier. There's more fat there, so it'll be a little bit more forgiving for that second stage of cooking, and they're not as likely to dry out on you. However, if you have a really good meat thermometer, you could pull that off in the oven with chicken breast, no problem. All right. So now we're gonna plate it up so you can see what she looks like. There we go. Some grits on the bottom. Put our collards right underneath. There we go. And we're gonna lay a big, beautiful pork chop right on top of that. I'll take this guy right here in the middle. Let's call him a name. Just like that. And there you go. Pork chop, pimento cheese pork chops with collards and grits. Mmm. So who's gonna come over and help me eat this? Because it's a lot. Well, I'm so excited you guys join me today. Thank you so much for hanging out. Ooh, that's hot. I forgot that was in the oven. I'll put on my little protector here because that will not be the last time I do that. All right, so let me tell you really quick about the recipe that I used today. It actually came from our Pampered Chef Taste Buds collection. So when you purchase the Taste Buds, you can do it in a 1 month, 3 month, or 6 month subscription, and each month you get 3 recipes, 3 full color recipes, little recipe card there. And it tells you about the seasoning that you got. You've got 3 seasonings as well. And the seasoning packets have enough in here where you can get 2 to 3 recipes out of the 1 seasoning packet. So it's not just for this 1 recipe. You can have multiple uses in there for most of these. In addition to this, you also get free shipping with it. There's even an add-ons market that you can shop from right before your order ships, where you can add on additional products, more seasonings. You can add on some, sometimes it's like the scrapers, spatulas, you know, things that you might need to just go ahead and grab. And you can get all of that with free shipping. Plus, when you're a Taste Buds subscriber, you're going to have the seasonings and the recipes that I'm making on Thursday nights. So you can join me right along, cook right along with me, and we can make dinner together. How wonderful is that? I mean, how many seasonings do you know come with like a person that's going to walk you through all the recipes? I mean, that's a deal and a half right there, if I do say so myself. And right now, we are in the month of April, so right now until May 15th, when you purchase the 3-month or 6-month Taste Buds subscription, you're going to get a discount. So if you're interested in that discount, let me know. I've got a special code that I can send you so you can get that discount. I think with the 6-month regular, it's like $20 a month, which if you go to the supermarket and pick out 3 seasoning blends like this, you're going to come out of pocket that much, and you're not going to have recipes or me to help you figure out what to do with them. So definitely give it a try. I love having these. If you ever feel like you're in a mealtime rut, you want to try something new, you want to play around with some new flavors, new seasonings, just to experiment a little bit in the kitchen, bring a little vibrance, a little flavor back to your meals, this is definitely the product for you. So if you have any questions about that, please do let me know. Also, all the products that you saw me use here today are all Pampered Chef products. So if you'd like to add these to your kitchen, let me know. I can help you get them for free or discounted, or I can help you just place your order and we can talk about exactly what it is that you need so you get the right product for your needs. So thank you guys again. I will be back here next week with another recipe. I forgot to write down which one I'm doing next week, but I will post it in my group. If you're in my group, then you'll get the heads up on that. But I will see you guys back here next week, next Thursday at 6 o'clock. Bye now.